So you're in. I'm guessing you're in England, um,
Yes, the
in
Northwest.
the Northwest. Okay. So is that where exactly?
So, most of us are from a city called Chester. So, I guess in terms of places for people outside of the UK, it's not far from either Liverpool or Manchester. They would be the two kind of
Gotcha.
most well-known settlements, I guess, nearby.
Sure. Yeah, I uh, lived in Hong Kong for a year and taught there, and my
Oh,
office
wow.
mate was from Nottingham.
Oh, that's interesting because that was actually where I went to university. So
Okay.
that's yeah, I also know that area quite well.
He always enjoyed the way that most Americans would say Nottingham by saying
Yes,
Nottingham. He would,
yes, there was quite a lot of that because Nottingham has quite a well-known music venue called Rock City. So yeah, Good Evening Nottingham was quite a common
right.
thing for those bands.
Sure. Yeah. No, that was these days talking to, because technology has advanced us to the point where we can do this around the world. I always am just interested where, as I get a better sense of the locale, it's always nice to know where people are situated.
Yes, absolutely, indeed.
So I listened to the album, and
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, well, it's first of all, for people watching, let me recommend that you should definitely check this out. Disconnected Souls is the name of the group, and help me out because I should have written down the album name. I did not.
Not a problem. It's Warring Elements.
Okay, Warring Elements. Yeah, it was a combination of a lot of different genres. So,
Mm,
so going into it, I didn't really know what to expect.
yeah.
Um, and it was really interesting because there's obviously guitars, bass, drums, but there's also keyboards and sort of a melding of various different, like there's progressive metal,
Mm.
there's death metal, certainly death metal drum beats in there. But when I listened to the first track, Emergence, it sounded like something that I might hear like at a DJ spinning at a club. Um,
Yes, indeed.
which I enjoyed. That's not to be taken as a slight or anything. It and then very quickly it progressed to more of a traditional
Mhm.
sort of metal feel to it. Like each song sort of switched it up a little bit. So rather than be able to give somebody a generic genre to say, yeah, if you're interested in X, you'll love this band. Um, I think what probably say is if you're into a combination of music that sort of reinterprets and delivers a unique sound. I don't think your band sounds quite like anyone I've heard.
Well, to be quite honest, I think for me personally, that's the highest kind of form of praise, and that's something I really appreciate, and I'm sure the others will too, because yeah, I think that's kind of if you look in terms of the goal of what we were trying to do, it was always do something that hasn't been done, and to try and kind of it sounds really kind of pretentious to say push the boundaries, but I guess it's just, I guess in simpler terms, it's just do something that's a bit experimental. Some people will like some things, other people will possibly not like some things. But for me, it's at least we're kind of trying to do something a bit different, I guess. So the fact that you've kind of said that makes me very happy that you've kind of viewed it as such, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple of bands that I've interviewed recently have been going in directions that I feel are original,
Hmm.
but I haven't really heard the combination of elements before that you
Mm.
guys are sort of bringing to this. Switching off with vocalists. It seems like you've got one singer who's doing sort of operatic
Hmm.
type vocals, and then there's more of a like a growling,
Hmm.
death metal vote. But then that same singer will we'll get rid of the growling in the next song.
Hmm.
So it's almost like as soon as I figured out, okay, I have an idea of where this is headed, it sort of went in a different direction.
Yes, I think there is an element to that, and I think what's quite funny for us is when we're writing these tracks, we don't know where they're going to end up either.
Right.
So it's not like we have always a clear plan of, okay, we're going to do some harsh vocals, then we're going to switch up and do this and that. Quite often, well, at least with the tracks on Warring Elements, it was we write a section, oh, we've ended up here, and in some cases it was we would write a kind of section, I don't know, towards the beginning of the song, then one at the end, and then it would be, okay, how do we get from A to B, and is there a way of kind of going on that journey? And that's quite an interesting kind of way of writing things. And it has its challenges sometimes. Yeah, it can be a bit difficult to do that. I think Deviate was one track where, we had a load of different kind of ideas as to how we wanted it to sound, and we just couldn't kind of get them all to work. So that one ended up very different, I think, from how we were expecting it to.
Well, I mean, it's certainly, I have not spoken to people who use that method of songwriting where it's kind of like, let's start at point A and somewhere in the horizon is where we want to get to, and we'll just see how we get there. But it worked. I mean, all of the I wouldn't think going into this on paper that a lot of the elements you're trying to combine together would work so well, or that each song would kind of lead into the next song without being too jarring, just based on what you're attempting here. But it's successful. It works.
Well, I'm really glad that you think so. So thank you for that. That's much appreciated.
Yeah. No, I go on. I'm sorry.
No, after you.
I was going to say, just I look forward. You know, I'm always trying to categorize music that I feel like I can recommend to people for various reasons. You know, for people who I know love a certain genre, and I find something that really appeals to them, that they won't have to sort of leave their wheelhouse. Sometimes I like finding bands that will completely blow people's minds. You know, you got to check this out because of what they're doing. So stumbling upon to you guys was great, because now it's like, oh, you're looking for something you've never heard before, or you're looking for something that's going to combine, you know, that you could listen to at a club that a DJ's spinning, or you could listen to it in an amphitheater, or you could listen to it before the start of a professional basketball game. You know, as people are, I mean, it covers every sort of opportunity. So
yeah. Again, thanks for that, because that's really kind feedback. And as I say, it was definitely what we were trying to do. It was interesting. You were kind of talking about the songwriting kind of side of things, of going from point A to point B. I think another thing that kind of links into that is, as kind of songwriters, we all work in quite different ways as well. So for instance, Holly's very good at just kind of writing entire songs in Guitar Pro, which is a kind of tablature program, and then kind of presenting that to everyone, and we kind of take that and try and build on it. But that's very different from everyone else. So Patrick, he tends to kind of go for find a keyboard, and it's interesting because he doesn't actually have any music theory background, but he will go to the keyboard, he'll look for kind of sounds that seem cool, and then we'll kind of do it that way. Or sometimes he'll come to us with like a really kind of catchy hook that's been in his head all day. And then on the flip side, you've got Tim, who basically the way he writes songs is kind of the total opposite way. He'll just focus on a very simple kind of piano setting, and does the melody and the chords work together, because his logic is, if you can play something on with just kind of piano chords and a melody and it sounds good, then you know that you've got like a really solid structure. kind of musically, and then we'll kind of build on that. And then I don't know, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of those three, in that it's kind of a mixture. Sometimes it'll be kind of around the inspiring sound, but I'm more kind of big chord sequences and how can you make things sound dramatic using different combinations of instruments. So I think that again is one of those things that's just led to the every song feeling quite different and the approach being quite different, because different people will have kind of had the starting point for the song, and then it's kind of how do other people build on top of that to hopefully keep it moving forward.
Well,
um,
it works. I mean, I would say to musicians out there or people who are looking into getting into songwriting,
mhm.
this is probably more of a non-traditional method. Um,
Mm,
a lot of times, usually there's one person who's sort of steering the ship, and other
yeah,
people will add. But it sounds like you guys have a really great sort of unified way where you're all songwriters, you're all bringing stuff to the table, and you're building off of each other's work. And
yeah,
it all seems to. I mean, it all definitely, based on what I heard in the album, it all comes together really well.
thank
So
you.
the chemistry you have is great.
Yeah, I think that is, if I was to kind of talk in terms of the strengths, that is our big strength. I think it's that, and also how open-minded everyone is. So everyone will listen to kind of any genre, which I think is a real blessing. And I know that within the metal scene, quite often we have a bit of a kind of um, like a bit of a stigma as being quite close-minded with music, but obviously there is plenty of people in music who have lots of kind of interests and that in terms of other genres and styles. Um, so yeah, um,
Well, I'm thinking that it would seem that that's beginning to change a little bit more. Um, you know,
yeah,
I
I think so.
I think just obviously things have been pretty crazy over the last year, but I think one of the things that's developed is less stringent sort of
Hmm.
rules in terms of what something needs to sound like,
Yeah,
or even just like regional boundaries seem to have pretty much disappeared with with just everyone seems to be sort of universally on the same page now and really supportive. So
yeah, I think the industry is going in the right kind of way, and it's a lot more personal authenticity, and you don't have as much kind of labels saying you have to write this, you have to write that. I think that's one element of it, and yeah, I think the community is kind of becoming more welcoming of, yeah, different fusions of things.
so obviously the album is going to be released soon,
Hmm.
hopefully. And then are you going to be touring, promoting it, playing gigs? Is it still locked down where you are?
So lockdown has kind of eased over the last few weeks, so gigs are starting to happen again. I think we're kind of split in terms of playing gigs. I think some of us are more keen on doing so than others. So I don't think we're really going to be in a kind of position to do anytime soon. But I know there are a few kind of special festivals that we would like to play, and a few people have kindly made kind of offers about kind of getting in touch to do so. But I think because we're all quite busy people in terms of working full time, we're not really going to have the luxury of being able to go on a massive long tour. But it will therefore be more of a kind of special shows, and yeah, I think again that's something we'd like to make more a big thing of. So I mean, I'd love to do a show with an orchestra for example, but that's going to take some planning if we do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's
So
I mean
yeah.
it sounds like you're all headed in the right in the right direction,
Hmm.
um, with regards to at least being behind the music 100% and seeing what options come up now that things are beginning to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the thing is, we just we would want to ensure that if we were playing a show that we really had the music down kind of 100%. I mean, obviously there's a lot of parts, so we'd probably need to have a fair amount of backing tracks, and there'd be a kind of a production element to it, because we'd
Right.
want to kind of deliver something that did the music justice, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's there is sort of an atmospheric quality to the music, so I feel like you would need that element to it,
Yeah,
to sort of bring it to where it needed to go.
yeah, and I think atmosphere is the key word there. I mean, one of the things I've been kind of thinking about is kind of intro kind of tracks, to kind of come on stage too, and writing some more kind of stuff to fill it out and turn it into a kind of longer performance. Um, so yeah, that's absolutely something that's on my radar and I'd like to do. Um, but I guess the thing is, on the flip side, with not kind of being out touring, and that is we're all available and we can spend that time writing more music. So we've got some quite kind of ambitious plans for future stuff that we'd like to do. So it's meaning that we can spend more time working on those at the moment, which is nice.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, so I mean, I know Warring Elements will come out September 10th, so
That's
there's at least another month to push that, and then
Mhm.
there's an opportunity to work on new music. So it sounds like you've got a lot going on. Um,
Yeah,
and if you are able to play shows, that's great. If you're not, you still have a lot on the table.
yeah. There's some flexibility there, but I guess anytime we're meeting up and working on musical things is good, whether that's for live or new music.
Yeah.
It's
So
nice.
if I obviously Warring Elements, I know will be available on Bandcamp,
Hmm.
and probably at most streaming platforms, I would imagine.
Hmm.
And is there a website people should go to, or is it just social media?
I think general social media links. Bandcamp is probably the place where we'd like to, direct people to check it out, and hopefully buy it if they enjoy it and want to support it. Um,
Yeah, well, Warring Elements drops September 10th. It is a great album full of a ton of different combinations of genres. It's really difficult to pinpoint by saying one thing.
mhm.
So I would just say you should definitely get it. Um, for if you're a fan of any kind of progressive, operatic, techno, gent, transcore. I mean, really, I mean, it's like a laundry list of combinations, but it's all really well done,
Thank
and
you.
you'll especially if you're an adventurous person looking for something new, then
Yeah, I think that's the key word. I guess adventurous and open-minded.
adventurous. Yeah, absolutely, adventurous and open-minded, and there are a lot of them out there, so that'll be good.
Mm,
Um,
yes, and hopefully enjoy it. And if you don't, then we're sorry, but hopefully you'll enjoy something in the future
I
that's
yeah,
something
I
different.
mean the music is great. It seems like you are all on the same page in terms of delivering something really quality that follows through with your vision.
Hmm.
So I have no doubt you'll connect with a lot of people now, and those people will then look forward to whatever you're releasing in the future. So
That's that's good to hear. I
yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you.
well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for speaking with me, and good luck with everything. And
Yes,
we will
thank you very
start.
much.
We'll be in touch.
Yes, much appreciated. Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Have a
take
lovely
care.
rest of your evening.
Thanks, you too.
Cheers. See you later.
Later.
Bye.